Bonjour, je m'appelle Jen de Cookies, Cupcakes and Cardio. Aujourd'hui, je fais bouchon gâteau. That was French, I think, but I kind of butchered it. I was trying to say that we are going to be making a lumberjack cake today. French is one of Canada's 2 official languages, and I'm a little rusty on it. So Canada Day comes up every July 1st, and in order to celebrate this year's video, I wanted to combine a couple of our kind of stereotypical things we have here. We have great vast forests, and we have lumberjack plaid. So I'm putting those 2 together. I'm making this log cake, and inside is the lumberjack plaid. Let's get started on this tutorial, and happy Canada Day to all my fellow Canadians. To make the cake, we're going to be using 4 pre-made round vanilla cakes. So this cake I dyed black with black gel paste. This one is a nice bright red using red gel paste. And then I combined the red and the black gel paste to get this nice burgundy color. I'll put a link in the description box for my vanilla cake recipe if you'd like to use it. We're also going to need this vanilla buttercream, which is colored a nice tan color. We're going to use chocolate buttercream, and we're also going to use chocolate buttercream that I've dyed with black gel paste. I'll put a link to the vanilla and the chocolate buttercreams in the description box below. We're going to need some melted dark chocolate, and we're going to be using flake bars to get the wood effect around the outside of the cake. So the first thing we're going to do is we need to cut our cakes. Now I have just cut out with a compass these round circles, and they're in 1-inch increments, and we're starting with the largest one. Now to hold it into place, I'm just going to insert some toothpicks. It just gives me a little bit more trust in the actual kind of guideline here. So I'm just going to take a sharp knife, and you want to make sure you keep your knife straight up and down, and you're just going to follow along the little guide that you've made. It works a little bit better if you use kind of a heavier paper. I've got a construction paper here. You can use parchment, it works just fine, but this kind of gives it a little bit more, just kind of like it helps you guide it a little bit better. Cardstock also works really well in this case. So you just want to make sure that you've gone all the way around and you've got everything cut out here all the way to the bottom. So I'm just making sure that my knife is touching to the bottom. And when you try to remove the ring, you will be able to tell if you haven't cut it properly because there will be some resistance. If you do get resistance, do not pull it. You want to go back over with your knife, and you want to make sure that you have trimmed that spot. So you can remove it just like this, set it off to the side, and then we'll go on to the next size and repeat that with the toothpicks. Now, what we're also going to do is we have to do this with the other 3 cake layers. So when I've got all 3 of these cake layers all cut out, I will come back and show you how to assemble them. Once you have the rings all cut out, you're going to end up with 4 different ones from each of the colors. So what we're going to do is take 1 burgundy and mix it with 1 black, and then the second burgundy is going to be mixed with the red, and you'll repeat it the exact same way. So how we do that is just simply to take them one at a time and just place the opposite color inside the right here, like so, the black and then the burgundy, and then the black again, and the burgundy in the center. You can put buttercream in between the layers if you choose to, but if you've cut it like perfectly to size, it will be nice and tight, and the buttercream that's going to go onto the top will keep it all together. So I'm going to repeat this with the burgundy and the red. So once you have the rings of the cakes divided, I have a 4th one off camera, so don't get confused by that. I'm going to put the first layer, can be whichever one you want, and it's attached to the cake board with just a little bit of buttercream. And then I'm going to put on some more buttercream in between these layers here. And because we're kind of like imitating what we would find in a shirt, you just want it to be a fairly thin line of buttercream here. So you don't want to go too crazy on the buttercream. Just kind of want it to look like as if it would in the fabric, kind of like the stitching. So we're just doing it relatively thinly. Then after, you have to pay attention to which one you put underneath and then which one you're going to put on next. So after this one, I'm going to put up the red and burgundy one onto the top here, and then repeat that with the buttercream. And then I will obviously put the black and the burgundy up, and then the final layer will be the second red and burgundy one. So I'm just going to finish stacking the cake off, and then I'll be back to show you the next step. Now we're going to take our two different colors of brown, and I'm going to take the lighter one for the top. And so what I'm going to do is just kind of go around here, and I'm going to make a light brown layer that's going to cover the top, because if we were to slice into an actual tree trunk, we would find that the inside was a little bit lighter than the bark would be on the outside. So I'm just taking my offset spatula and just moving it around here like that. I'm just trying to get it to be nice and smooth. You'll be able to like finish up and do some adjustments after we've got the sides on. So we're going to use the darker brown, the chocolate buttercream, for the sides. So now we're going to take that and just down here, well, we could start like down here along the base, and we'll just kind of pipe a couple layers of this chocolate buttercream. And then I'll take my regular spatula, my flat one, and I will brush the sides on to cover them up. You want to make sure that you're using a nice amount of buttercream. If your buttercream crusts before you get a chance to get your chocolate bars on, you can always just apply more buttercream. So I'm just going to finish off the sides here. Once we have the top and the sides covered, I'm going to take a large serving fork, and I'm just going to gently kind of etch in what I want to be the rings of the cake. So if you don't have like a fork like this, you could just use maybe like a ruler or like a toothpick to get these lines in here. You don't have to be exact because we're going to be blending them in later on. We just want like a little bit of a rough guide here. So then we're going to take our buttercream, the darker one, which I've got a number 3 tip on. You could use any small round tip though. And I'm just going to kind of squeeze some. You don't even want to have it like completely the whole way, all the way around. We just want to use those guides and fill in these lines. Once we've got these lines all kind of traced, mostly, we're going to take the offset spatula and we're going to blend in the lines into the cake. So you won't see any of the marks that the fork made, and we'll have the kind of like the rings will be just really subtle, like you would actually see. So then with the offset spatula, I'm just going to fix this part up just in case it doesn't work properly. And we're going to just blend it in here. So I'm just going to blend like this until we've got the cake just how I would like it. Once we have our lines on the top here, we're going to take a veining tool. This is just a fondant tool. You could also use a toothpick, and I just want to get a little groove into the wood here. We're going to do like kind of like a crack in the wood, and I'm going to take the dark chocolate buttercream again, and I'm just going to follow in the crack here like this, and just follow up the crack. You can do any sort of shape that you want to. And then with a small paintbrush, I'm just going to kind of cover it in here to get it more recessed into that actual little line that we drew. And there you have it, a nice little crack in the top of your wood. So our last step to the cake is to put on the Flake chocolate bars. But in order to give them a bit more of a realistic look, I'm just taking a little bit of the melted chocolate and my paintbrush, and I'm just kind of brushing in some of the cracks. Just going to give a little bit of definition to the wood. Now I'm turning this over, and I'm just putting a little bit of buttercream on the back just to make sure that it sticks. And then you just take your chocolate bar and place it right up against the cake. So I'm going to go around and finish the rest of the outside of the cake, and then I will cut it open and show you guys the finished product. So there you go, everybody, how to make the lumberjack cake hidden inside a log. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial today. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And merci à vous regarder. Au revoir.